The world has enough strife as it is. Where would we be if we turned against each other? PIANNA, Nomad Captain. Flavor text of Earnest Fellowship. In the wake of the Phyrexian invasion, the continent of Otaria would become home to an organization that preached unity, tradition, and the dangers of artifice. Believing in a primordial sky goddess known only as the Ancestor, the order grew and spread across much of the continent, its teachings gaining easy foothold in a population ravaged by the invasion. As a consequence of the order's growth, it found itself split into separate regions, unified in their goals but under different leaders. One such leader was a woman by the name of PIANNA, who took command of the Order's citadel to the north, and took her duty of defending the people quite seriously. PIANNA was brought into the Order at a young age, her family slaughtered by raiding barbarians. Her life was saved in part thanks to the arrival of the dragon known as Lord Egan, who commanded the Northern Order at the time. Adopted into the Order, PIANNA lived a life of earnest diligence, rising through the ranks to become the new leader of her faction, where she would become known and admired as a stern but fair commander. And while she did not exactly trust the Cabal, PIANNA was not exactly a warmongerer either, and was more committed to maintaining peace within her sphere of influence. When the beasts of the Crozen Forest became violent, attacking loggers and villagers, PIANNA dedicated her men to defending the innocent and shepherding refugees behind the walls of the Order's citadel. Little did she know that the source of the forest's madness would soon come to her very doorstep. Far to the south, in Cabal City, one of the Order's Aven warriors, Lieutenant Kurtar, came to acquire a mysterious artifact as his prize for helping defend the city. This small, unassuming orb fascinated the Aven, and he brought it, alongside the merfolk ambassador Laquatus, along as he was recalled to aid in the defense of the people. Kurtar had always been a proud and arrogant fighter, but his attitude seemed to turn reckless upon his return from Cabal City. Rather than stay and aid the civilians, as had been his orders, Kurtar was incensed to go on the offensive, leading his men deep into Croza, slaughtering all beasts they encountered. Furious at Kurtar's shirking of duty, and worried over his obsession with his prize, PIANNA ordered the Aven back to the citadel. There, consulting maps, PIANNA came to the shocking realization that the beast attacks from the forest appeared to mirror Kurtar's movements, and came to believe the orb he held was the cause of all this madness. PIANNA attempted to convince Kurtar to destroy his prize, as was Order protocol, but the Aven, incensed by Laquatus and bolstered by the power he appeared to wield with the orb, rallied his fellow birdmen into a coup attempt, casting a spell with the orb that summoned a wave of crystals. Unable to defend herself from this spell, PIANNA was encased and slain almost immediately, bringing an end to the voice of moderation in the Order, which would slowly become more aggressive in her passing. By chance of fate, PIANNA's death would not go unavenged. Unable to control or maintain the spell he cast, Kurtar would waste away completely, dying as a result of his own foolish arrogance. As for the artifact that lay at the source of all this destruction, it would soon come to be known as the Mirari, and its story was far from over. PIANNA Nomad Captain is a legendary creature, human nomad, first printed way back in the Odyssey set. She costs 1 generic mana and 2 white mana to cast, has 2 power and toughness, and whenever she attacks, all attacking creatures get +1 power and toughness until the end of the turn. PIANNA herself has only appeared in 2 of the Magic novels, the Dragons of Magic Anthology, where she has an extremely minor role, and in Odyssey, where she's shown to be a stern but thoughtful leader who seemed to genuinely care about the people underneath her and was always trying to do what was best. She didn't really come off as particularly aggressive in this book either. In fact, far from it, most of her actions in the book, brief as they were focused on protecting the innocent and trying to maintain peace. Odd, then, that her card is entirely aggro-focused, providing a sweeping buff to your attackers. If this were an episode of Flavor Judge, I'd give this card a big fat flavor fail. The Odyssey block is full to the brim with tragic figures, and too often these individuals are brought low as a direct result of their own hubris. PIANNA, however, was a victim of circumstance, whose biggest crime was failing to see just how far gone Kurtar already was by the time he was brought back to the Citadel. Ultimately, her death was just one more tragedy in the story. It was even pinned on Kamal of all people as part of Laquatus's bid to keep the barbarian off his back, so even her own people never really learned what actually happened to her. A shame, really. She seemed like a good person at heart. Oh well, in the chaos that is Otaria, good people rarely stick around for long. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, sharing the video, or subscribing to the channel, or leaving a comment down below. Every little bit helps. If you want to support me directly, consider heading on over to Patreon. Patrons help keep the channel afloat with their donations, and in turn, they get early access to all of my lore content, as well as some behind-the-scenes updates. Thanks again so much for watching, and have a great day.